Hello and welcome. Merry Christmas. I think I have to take this out. You can't really see anything. Hello and welcome. Today is day 25 of Bookmas. Merry Christmas, my friends. Today I wanted to tier rank all the books that I read in this year so far. So today is actually the 14th that I'm filming this on. I wanted to be able to put in all the videos on time, so I'm just going to include everything that I've read up until the 14th of December. So that includes 65 books. I have 5 different categories. I have the God tier, which is like the perfect books that I've read, at least in my personal opinion. They're great books, they're good books, and they're meh books, and dear Lord, what the heck did I just read? There's these 5 different categories, and I'm just going to put in all the books there. So I'm just gonna go ahead and start with Aristotle and Dante Discovers the Secrets of the Universe, and I'm gonna go with Dear Lord. I did not enjoy this book. I thought it was a little bit of a load of crap, to be honest. So I didn't like it. I did not like Aristotle. I didn't really like Dante, who was just really almost whiny. Like, he didn't take care of himself at all, and I don't know, he just seemed very immature the whole time. I know people will hate me for this, but I have to say the honest truth. The next are 4 books of Death Note. I think this is volume 1, which I really enjoyed. This is volume 2, which was pretty great. I don't know if it was like the perfect volume or not. Volume 3 was also pretty great. I think this was volume 3. This is volume 4. I think this is volume 4. Was not the greatest. Like, it was pretty good. I personally didn't enjoy it as much as I would have liked to. I would definitely think that I would have enjoyed it a little better, but it wasn't bad or anything like that. And then I have Song of Achilles. Dear Lord. If you have already watched my worst books of 2021 video, I have talked about this already. I didn't like Achilles as a character. I just thought he was just very selfish. And then Patroclus was there just to save his ass, and you know, he was just not grateful. I did not like him as a character. Saga was pretty great, and Saga Volume 2 is also pretty great. Their artwork is just like, oof, but have a really fun story to tell, so I have to give them that. Chain of Iron, I think, was pretty great. I think it was pretty good. Show Your Work, to me, was just a really good book to me. It is a nonfiction. I have talked about this previously, and I really enjoyed reading it. I thought it was a very solid book, and yeah, I would definitely recommend you guys to pick this one up. Okay, so next up we have The Fill-In Boyfriend. I read this a while back, and I thought it was pretty okay. Like, I didn't think it was like the best work out there or anything like that. It was fine. Like, I didn't really enjoy it as much as I would have liked to. A Man Called Uva, I think I'll give it a great. It was a very slow-paced book. Although I did enjoy it a lot, I just thought it was very slow-paced. It took me so much time to get through it. Saga, again, this is volume 2. I think I'll give it a great tier. Fruits Basket, dear Lord. I did not like that book. I wanted to like it so much because I did hear quite a bit about it, and I wanted to really like it, but I did not enjoy it at all. So yeah, what the hell was that? The Female of the Species, is it good or great? I give it good. It was a little difficult book to read because it had sexual assault, and there was this character who's trying to avenge, I think, her sister's death or something like that. She wanted to really teach people repercussions of actually sexually assaulting, and she takes everything into her own hands, and she rips out a person's ear, which is like, ouch. It was a very interesting book, to say the least. Next up we have Magpie Murders, which I think was a pretty solid book. I'll give it a good. I did talk about this in one of my videos in my almost favorites. It was a good book, but it was not like amazing or anything like that. Moxie was a pretty good book. I really enjoyed it while I read it. It is a YA with this whole girl empowerment kind of a topic. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a pretty solid book. The Wife Between Us, is it meh or? I think it was good. I liked the way that it was kind of going through. It was a domestic thriller, so I kind of figured out what was going on to an extent. So that was that, but like, it was pretty enjoyable, to be honest. Nevermore is a God tier. I really enjoyed that book. I'm glad I read it. You know, it was really good. Kingdom of Copper, like, no doubt it is a God tier. Why does it keep doing that? It was a God tier. I really enjoyed that book. Atomic Habits, I give it a good. Atomic Habits is also like a non-fiction, and while I did enjoy reading it, it was not like, oh my god, I'm gonna change all of my habits right now. Like, it doesn't work that way. I know I have all the resources to change the way that I behave, but I'm not gonna do it to that much of an extent. You know what I'm saying? So like, it's kind of useless to me. Where Dreams Descend. Dear Lord, I DNF'd that book, so I finished reading more than like 75% of the book, and I couldn't go through it entirely, unfortunately, so I did end up DNFing it. It's unfortunately a dear Lord for me. Radio Silence, good. I think it was good. Next up is Lock Every Door. It was a pretty good book. I don't think it was like perfect. Like, it was almost a little unbelievable, but then I understand like how this was going about. It was a little creepy, and overall, like, it was just a fun book, definitely. I would highly recommend you guys to pick up this thriller, but it's a little creepy, I'm gonna say that. Oh, there's Empire Gold down here, I see that. I'm gonna give that God tier 2, because I really enjoyed that book as well. Wicked Fox was just meh for me. I think I'll continue on with the series just to know like what it was about, but yeah, like I don't think it was like the most perfect thing ever. Skyward is a God tier. I really enjoyed Skyward. I thought it was such a solid book. Anna K was, dear Lord, what the fuck did I just read? Again, like there's a lot of cheating. I think I give it like 2.5 stars. There's a lot of cheating that's involved. Like literally every single character that is introduced has cheated or is cheating, and I hated that so much. Ace of Spades, God tier. I think it's just so fun. I forget what type of thriller it is, but it's a really fun book, and it's like Get Out meets Pretty Little Liars. It's so good. I really enjoyed that. For me, My Contrary Mary is a great book because I really have fun reading that series entirely. Like it's such a good time reading it. The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue was meh. Like it was pretty okay, but I think it was more on the side of meh. A Fa Love Story. I don't think it was like what the fuck, but it was meh. It wasn't so bad, but like everything was like mushing together, I think. I didn't really enjoy it at all. Okay, I'm gonna put it there. Starso was pretty great. I think I enjoyed it a lot. Things My Son Needs to Know About Me. I thought that was a really solid book. It's a nonfiction as well about like Frederick Bachman talking to his son into the future. Like this is how I really was and all that kind of stuff. And I really enjoyed reading that. It was a pretty good book. A Court of Silver Flames. I didn't hate it, but it was really meh. Honestly, like it was just porn in a book. I didn't really care for it at all. Under the Whispering Door, I'm gonna give it a great. It was a pretty great book. I really enjoyed it. The House in the Cerulean Sea. This was God tier for me. I freaking adored this book and play around a little bit with this. The Mole, the Boy, the Fox, the Horse. I'm gonna give it great. It was a really quick and sweet read. I did enjoy it. Style A for Aunties was God tier for me. I had such a good time reading it. I thought it was so much fun, and it was a really good book. Lovely War, I'm gonna give great. It was a very, very solid book. Act Your Age, Eve Brown, I think I'm also gonna give it God tier. I'm just giving all of these books God tier. It was really good. I'm not gonna lie, it was really fun. This one, what is this called? Tokyo Ever After, I think was meh. Like I wanted to enjoy it much more than that, but it was unfortunately not the case. It was fine. It was not the best thing I've ever read. So yeah, I didn't really care for it. The Husbands was a pretty good book. It was a very unique premise. I have talked about it on my channel multiple times by now. I think I did talk about it in one of these past videos as well. It was pretty decent. I really enjoyed it. The Royal Holiday, I think, was meh. I feel like out of like the 4 books that I've read by Jasmine Guillory, this was one of the worst in my opinion. I didn't really enjoy it as much as I would like to. It wasn't bad or anything, it was just not the best work she's put out, so I already had like high expectations, and then by the time we got into this one, I didn't care for it all too much. It was fine, but it was not my favorite. The Cousins, it was pretty good. I enjoyed reading it. Love in English, I would give it a good. It was a good surprise, but it wasn't like the perfect book or anything like that. It was definitely a good surprise. I remember giving this 4 or 5 stars. I don't remember what it was at all. Like, it was a very short story. I'm gonna give it good because I remember enjoying it. These Violent Delights was meh. I did enjoy the ending though, so I do want to continue on with the rest of the series, and I know a lot of people love her books, but I don't know, it wasn't for me. I like the ending, but nothing else really mattered to me. Last Chance Books was just, dear Lord, what the fuck. I hated every second that I read that book. It was just, annoying, to say the least. Spindle Splintered is also kind of the same for me. I did not care for any of the characters and things that happened in that book. I couldn't stand by it. The Keeper of Night was a pretty good book. I didn't like super love it, but it wasn't a bad book. I kind of liked it. Party Crasher was a good book. I had a good time reading it. Sophie Kinsella always has this way of writing that just makes you smile, laugh. It's just chaotic, and I really enjoy her writing style, so I enjoyed the book overall as well. The arrangement is so creepy. I personally really loved it. I'll give it a grade. The Vanishing Half made me feel a lot of things. I'll give it a grade. It was really good. Show Your Work, I'm just gonna push it down to great. I don't think it deserves God tier, so. The Guest List, I think it's meh. It wasn't a bad book or anything like that. It was just, I didn't really care for it too much. I kind of figured out who the bad guy was. Like, it wasn't that big of a deal, honestly. I didn't care too much. Case Closed Volume 1 was pretty great. I really enjoyed it. I think it has a very good premise, so I really liked it. Soulmate Equation, I loved it. Oh, I can't. Okay, oopsie. I'm gonna put it here. Soulmate Equation, I loved it. I just thought it has such a unique premise. It takes in people's DNA and it matches you with people who would potentially be your soulmates. And it's just such a good premise. I really enjoyed it. Definitely would recommend it. A Lady's Guide to Mischief and Mayhem was a pretty good book. It wasn't, I don't know if it was great. It wasn't bad. Like, it was really fun. It was funny. It had that mysterious element and all that kind of stuff. It kept you on the edge of your seat. It was a good book. The Box in the Woods, I personally liked it more than the other Truly Devious trilogy. I liked it more. I thought the writing style was more stronger and the mystery aspect of it was even stronger as well. I really liked it. So that's a great book for me. Amari and the Night Brothers, no questions asked, is a great book. You have to try to read that book. It is a middle grade fantasy and it's so adorable. It's kind of like Nevermore with like magic and stuff. It's really fun. I really enjoyed it. Six Crimson Cranes, I'll give it good. It was a pretty decent book. I did enjoy it, so I'll give it that. Therapist was a pretty good book, in my opinion. I know like the thriller aspect of it was not that great, but then I personally still enjoyed it. I had a good time reading it, so I'll just give it that. We're at the last 3 books, so One Last Stop, I will give it a great. I did have a good time reading it. I thought it was a pretty solid book, and I genuinely had a good time reading it, so I'll just leave it there. People Who You Meet on Vacation, I know a lot of people hate this, but I really enjoyed it. I think Emily Henry has that way of writing that makes me feel good. I just have a good time reading it. I was not a huge fan of the ending. Like our female MC, the way that she was acting, not a big fan of it. I did not like that, but other than that, it was just a really good book, in my opinion. Malibu Rising is God tier. It was really good. I think I'm pretty pleased with all the placements of the books. I'm trying to see if I should change anything around. I think that's a pretty solid list, so I'm just going to leave it at that. But yeah, that was my tier ranking for all of the days up to the 14th. Obviously, there's more days left, and I'm pretty certain that I can read a little bit more now that I'm done filming all the videos. I have more time to actually sit down and read for sure. But yeah, that was the last day of Bookmas. If you have joined me for all 25 days, thank you so much for joining me. If you're new here, hi, welcome. My name is Ansu. Please don't forget to hit that subscribe button and that notification bell to be notified every single time I upload a new video. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you all closer to the New Year's. Bye!